we have brought in one of New Zealand's AI gurus, the founder of Arcanum. Please welcome to the stage, Asa Cox.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Good afternoon. My challenge is keeping you awake. Obviously, you just had your food. Hopefully the brains, the sugar's going to start converting at some point soon, and the carbohydrates are going to start energizing those brain cells. Because now you've been given all this background, you kind of get excited about AI, and kind of seeing into the future. You all call yourselves futurists now. You've come to one conference, you're now kind of ready to go. Clearly, given that we're 12 months on for the last time we did this, and still a lot of you haven't started yet, it didn't really work out last time, so we're going to do it again. How do you get started with AI? In the last 12 months, as we've heard, there's been incredible developments. Maybe 12 months ago, a lot of people were still saying, this is a technology looking for a problem to solve. Now, use cases are becoming clearer. We're all beginning to understand how we can use this AI stuff. There's use cases all over your businesses. There's productivity gains. There's revenue streams. There's ways in which you can improve productivity, improve profitability. The pressure is beginning to build on you, most likely to do AI. When your chairman says that, ask him where he heard about it, and then maybe you'll find out mostly it's some nieces and nephews and friends and family going, you should be doing AI. But now the pressure's on to actually start doing it, and you're kind of left wondering, well, that's great. I need to do this AI strategy. I've got a week to do it, no budget, no team. How do I do this, right? Where do I start? Where do I start looking? One of the things to think about is what's actually going to happen over the next 12 months, let's say. At the moment, I would say yesterday, because I've been involved in the industry for 8 years now, but we're in this mode where the humans are in control. Hooray for humans, this is great. Hopefully it stays that way for the foreseeable future. But at the moment, we're actually obligated to input into the AI, right? We're in an input-output mode. It's called prompting, or kind of whatever. You kind of put some information in. As good as your input is, that's what you will get out the other side. Co-pilots are coming. I would say co-pilots. Microsoft does not own the whole concept of a co-pilot, but co-pilots are coming where the humans are still doing most of the work and the AI is kind of on the side, kind of helping you out, speeding things up, getting those productivity gains. What's going to very quickly happen next is the seats are going to swap. The AI is going to be doing the work, and the humans are going to be on the side checking what the AI is going to be doing. This is not a Jetsons-style future. This is going to happen in the next few weeks and months. After that, things are going to change pretty dramatically. We're going to move from this focus purely on productivity gains, and we're going to move into quality as well as productivity. We're going to move into this age of agentic AI. There we go. We've got a new phrase. We've got generative, and now we're moving into agentic AI, where you've got autonomous AIs doing tasks focused on an outcome. In the human concept, we create an organization. We have functions. Those functions have very clear outcomes. You're in the finance team. Your job is to collect money on behalf of the company, accounts receivable, credit control, and so on. AI will understand that. It will understand what your policies and procedures are. It will understand what performance criteria is. It will understand the job descriptions that you're currently using to hire the humans, and it will create an autonomous team of AIs to fulfill the objectives of that department. And then you'll have a human overseeing that whole group of AI assistants and AI agents doing all of those functional tasks. This is not a next year technology. This is a nearly now scenario. So when you start to think about how you're going to use AI, don't just think it's a better Google. Do not just think it's ChatGPT. This will fundamentally change the way that you design organizations, your business models, your recruitment. It will change everything if you want that to be the case. Of course, it is not going to force its way into your organization and take over and rip you to shreds and rip up everything you've done. but it's a fundamental technology which has the potential to really dramatically change industries of all types. Ultimately, and somewhat inevitably, and I'll explain why I think it's inevitable, we will have teams of AI dealing with teams of AIs. If you're a sales company or sales function, you will be dealing with the buying function of the other organization that's also controlled by a human but is executed by AI agents. There will become a new communication protocol, AIs instantaneously negotiating with other AIs, and the humans will have to be focused on the human side of building trust, building relationships, understanding how to engage with other organizations, how to think about strategy, how to think about the future. As we've already had quoted, Sam Altman and others are beginning to think in this way already. They're placing bets on when the first billion-dollar business with one employee is coming, not because they want to get the attention onto the technology, but because this is the future in their minds, and they are way beyond what I know about this technology. They know what's possible. And so this forces us to think about what doing AI really means. And I think we're going to get there because at the moment we're still at the end of the industrial revolution. In essence, we're all human robots, right? We're still working in factories. They're called desks or cubicles. We're still tippy-tapping away, doing all the jobs that we're told to do, all repetitive, all not particularly exciting on a vast majority of cases. And so we don't want to have this existence. We don't want the future to be the same as the past. So as humanity, we want things to change, and we want to work on only the things that we think are interesting. We want to work on things that are more about our strengths. We want to work on things that get us excited. And we want the machines to take over all of this mundane work. Because, we've talked about this over decades of generations. We all want to have the same lifestyle, a better lifestyle, without having to work, right? That's what we want to be able to do. We want to have more time with our families, more time following our passions, more time with our friends, playing sports, arts, whatever it might be. This is what we kind of dream of at one level. On the other level, we go, well, actually, my identity is wrapped up in work. What am I if I don't work? If I cannot say I am this thing, this job, this profession, this job title, how does that begin to change the way I think about myself and others think about me? But because we have this innate desire to do more things that we love to do, it feels like there is this inevitability on how AI is going to be welcomed into our workplaces to take over the things that we don't want to do. And so we're at this stage now where we have better than Einstein level expertise, a genius, in inverted commas, on everything, on every part of the organization, on every task, on every function. It has the world's knowledge available to it. And it's accessible at a near zero cost, pretty much instantaneously, to every member of your team. What does that mean for how you should operate your organization? If you can grow your company disconnected from the human capital cost, from the human capital constraints and the complexities that come with hiring lots and lots of additional humans to grow, then what can you do with your business? How much more profitable could it be? How many new markets could you enter? How many new products could you develop? That doesn't have to be only for big enterprises. This can be for very small organizations too. If you can grow at a disproportionate rate to the costs that you have to incur, that changes the way that you think about the future and about your organization. But, great, but where do we start? The first thing, there's going to be, from here on, there's a number of practical tips and insights that, from my years that I used to do consulting in this space, the lessons that we kind of learned, the things to think about in organizations large and small. The first thing is to go, well, what's the time horizon here? Do we need to change now? What do we need to do tomorrow? Do we need to be an AI-first company, an AI-enabled company? Do we need to just figure out how to become a little bit more productive in certain parts of our organization? What is the scale? What is the time frame? What's the level of investment that you can make sustainably into your organizations? It will inevitably be connected to the impact you can have, the return on investment, and so on, but you need to start thinking about time frames. You need to start thinking about what type of business do you believe you need to be on the kind of time, the planning horizons that you're talking about. The wonderful thing about these events is you bump into old friends and people that you knew, and they spark you with ideas. And so, where's Sean? Sean Simpson, where is she? Put your hand up, can't see her. She's accredited. We had a quick conversation before I came on. And she told me about this new way of kind of thinking about how to apply AI, which I thought was fantastic. And through the powers of AI, we create an image and off we go. So, at the very highest level, there's obviously a number of execs in this room, board-level discussions, strategic thinking. You can now use AI to expand your thinking. One of the tips that we give at the end is how do you begin to use it as a study buddy, as a way to go deeper into concepts that you're not an expert in? How do you begin to look into global markets, products, and so on and so on? How do you expand your thinking currently? The next level down in the organization, you've then got how do you better manage people? How do you more efficiently look after your team? How do you minimize reporting? How do you minimize all those? How do you become more efficient at that management layer? Which again is a different use case for AI than at the highest level where we're doing expanding of thinking. And then we've got the task level efficiency and proficiency, the automations, the productivity gains that we're kind of beginning to become more and more familiar with AI. So you've got to think, where in your organization do you need to do more AI, or you start using AI in different ways? The guy or girl at the top does not need to use AI in the same way as somebody on the coalface. There's different ways to use AI that need to be thinking about. Who was here last year? Hands up if you came last year. Good, not too many, excellent. This is where we were last year, much to the horror of my marketing department. We came up with this Pimp It AI adoption framework. For those that remember MTV, this I thought was super cool. Not everybody else agreed. Yeah, you can understand why. So, thankfully, AI has moved on. It's become a bit more professional, and so have we. So we've created this AI adoption canvas. Not quite as catchy, I don't think, as Pimp It, but a little, minimal professional. So we've come up with this AI adoption canvas to help people think through AI adoption. It kind of says it on the canvas, not on the tin, but it says it on the canvas. So we're going to go through these parts very quickly. You can get a copy of it on the QR code or come and see us at our booth next to the racing thing. So next to the cool thing is where we are. So we'll start with people. People are still fundamental to every organization until the Sam Altman future comes about. But for now, people are still the most precious resource that you have. What you need to find in your organizations is the enthusiasm magnet. Who's going to be the one that will start talking about AI in your organization? It may not be an exec. It may be somebody in some department somewhere that's always talking about AI and technology around the water cooler, over the lunch table. You've got to find the person who is passionate about this technology. Because if you don't, you're going to be trying to force it on the organization, or it's going to have to go through IT, and then nobody's going to want it. So you have to find the right types of people within the organization to do this. And then you've got to be brutally honest about what skills do your people have. The ways in which you're interacting with technology, integrating it, the way that you've got to change your organization is going to take a different set of skills. Do you have the right skill sets? And if not, how are you going to retrain people, repurpose them into this future with AI? And part of that is in the education piece. How do you make sure there isn't the digital divide? How do you make sure there is equity and equality within your organization? How do you make sure those things happen? Again, it's a key thing to think about in terms of AI adoption. And then ideas, right? We're all here because we want to hear the ideas. How are other people doing it? Once you start asking internally, how could you save time? What stuff don't you like doing? Then you've got to figure out how to filter those ideas because you're going to have too many. So where's the impact going to be? Can you just copy what other people are doing in other countries to figure out how they are using it in your industry, in your type of company? And then maybe you need to think about customer journeys or product journeys or service delivery, so on, to see where can you apply AI in your organization. Ideas should not be a rate limiting factor. In fact, it should be the opposite. You should have too many if you're really beginning to engage in your organization. It's going to cost money. AI doesn't cost as much money as it did even last week. The cost of AI has come down, even as OpenAI and others reduce the cost. It's come down, I think it's 5x over the last 12 months. The cost of large language models has come down, and it will continue to decrease. But it still costs money in order to do that. And that money mainly is getting the team around the product, team around the process. You've got to commit resources to embedding this into your organization. Yes, you can begin to look at business case by business case, analysis paralysis, but you need to start somewhere as fast as possible, because if you don't, you won't build the muscles to be able to do this stuff. You won't actually get people thinking in the right way. If you're going to push it quarter to quarter to quarter, you're not going to go at the pace that you're going to need to. At the moment, because of the potential of AI in your organizations, at the moment you're kind of in a position where there's no regrets on spending. It doesn't mean you have to invest millions and millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands, but right now, where could you put money better in the technology space? You need to learn as quickly as possible, and so therefore investing is going to be incredibly valuable, even in the learnings that you get from it. And quite honestly, where are you better going to spend it, unless you've got some legacy platforms on fire that fundamentally will destroy your business if you don't do that. But apart from that, where else is better than spending it on AI right now? And then you've got to look at what's the size of the prize. Are you going to be entering a new market? Are you going to take all this white space? Are you going to be able to really capture market share from a competitor? Or is it going to unlock some exponential growth for your organization as you develop new products and services that can be sold overseas or through new channels? Or for some, it might well be an existential threat to your very organization. And that's a reality for a number of businesses, probably in this room, that's why you need to start thinking and doing faster than you probably think. Yes, there will be impact, no doubt, and considering that impact is going to be important. How much disruption will there be to your BAU? How much will you have to either retrain or positively exit some people in order to kind of reorganize? And what's the risk? Both the downside risk of screwing something up, which is probably inevitable, but what's the upside risk if you don't do it? We need to have this balanced scorecard of risk. We can't just think about all of the negatives and the what-ifs, because you may not be around to worry about them if you don't start thinking about the upside. And then the time frames, pretty much whatever you're thinking, halve it, quarter it. The technology is moving so fast. The emergence of AI-first companies is going to accelerate. And the barriers to entry into more digital-first consumers is going to drop. There will be competition coming from all angles unless you are the one on the front foot. There are going to be windows of opportunity for you to go out and capture the market, but that also means there's windows of opportunity for others to capture your market and push you out. Whatever you're thinking, you need to go faster. And absolutely, thanks to Paul, who's also here, Info by Design, we've been working on this governance framework. You need to think about how to do it responsibly. You need to think about accountability. You need to think about ethics and compliance. They need to be part of the conversation, but they can't be a hard stop roadblock, because once everyone else figures out how to get you past that, it may well be too late. You need to figure out how to work with those teams, get them on side, get the thinking to be appropriate, so then you are moving forwards together as an organization, because as soon as you get things blocked, you may well suffer some existential threats. So in terms of what's next, absolutely, start on those ideas, start building out those business cases, do it as lightweight and as fast as possible. Start those considerations around your organization, start planning for reskilling, reallocating, and so on. But most of all, you don't learn anything unless you do something. Yes, you can come to these conferences, you can do all the courses under the sun, the micro certification, you can do all of that stuff, but unless you start actually interacting, using, testing, playing with AI, you're not going to really understand its true potential. again, if you think it's still a better Google, you're missing the point of how this is going to be so transformational. So, action number 1, come and get a free copy of the AI adoption canvas so you can begin to have a structured way to think through AI in your organization. Action number 2, if you haven't done this, just start with one of the AI systems, whether it's Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever, and start using it as a study buddy. Start asking it questions. Start going deeper into a particular topic. Start getting it to reflect on its own answers. So one of the things that you should always do is ask it to criticize itself. Give critical feedback on the answer it's given, and then get it to incorporate that feedback into its next output. And you'll see that you can begin to work alongside the AI to really start getting deeper and deeper into an analytical topic. Thirdly, have some fun with the latest tools. The latest rollout of ChatGPT, so 4.0, now you get all the fun toys for free. So one of the things I do, I'm not very good at cooking. I cook on a Tuesday for the kids. I open up the fridge, take a photo of the fridge, and tell me what the hell can I make in 15 minutes with the basic stuff that I've got in my pantry, and I'm not very good, and I've got fussy kids. You can do stuff like that now. You can upload a PDF. You can upload a spreadsheet. You can now talk to it. You can do voice conversations. On my commute into work, I pretend to be a customer of ours and come up with objections so I can do sales training for my team. You can have so much fun and get so much value out of it. Just start trying it and playing with it. And then finally, you'll see a whole bunch of organizations rolling out practical, hands-on AI workshops. Take your laptop along, get involved in those things, and start seeing the power of AI. Time to start is now. You can't start fast enough. Just get involved. Start using the tools. Start getting your team on board. Find that enthusiasm magnet and just start getting involved in making sure you're the ones that survive and not the ones that get destroyed. So thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Now, you're talking about starting faster than we think we need to. What is stopping us when you're going from organization to organization? What is the point of inertia?
I think a lot of it is really getting that momentum. So the inertia is typically you haven't found the right use case or the right team to implement it, and it kind of just grounds to a halt. I told you it wouldn't work. That's really the bit that you're battling with, and you've got to get the organization on side to start really moving forwards. And not making it a project. That's one of the biggest things. You see a program or a project, something gets sponsored, it delivers something and it disappears. This needs to be viewed as a foundational technology to build upon, not just something to be delivered as a one-off.
And is there an element, psychologically, is there an element of fear within that as well? Is there a potential bit of sabotage? Like, have you got some people potentially worried about their positions if they let this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of doing things sooner and faster as you figure out where the people in the organization are either putting their heads in the sand or they've got a different perspective or a different view. Because the sooner you identify those, the sooner you're going to see where the roadblocks are and how they head them off. Because absolutely there's some sabotaging going on. And that's really because of the lack of education about what the future might look like. So our default to fear is to run away or to fight. And so that's what we're going to be dealing with.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andre.